Hey everybody, this is Moss Jackson. It's Wednesday, a couple of days after my last broadcast on Mondays with Moss, where I talked about, just checking the volume, living life as a survivor. Remember, a couple of weeks ago, I began this conversation around the invisible forces that kind of control us. Hi, David. And often we don't know about it. So one way of learning to get control of your life is to understand the way we're wired, because we're all wired basically for survival. And we have to somehow figure out over our lives, either through coaching or good experiences, or just meeting people who get us and guide us to leave the world of victim and survivor and move into the world of navigator. Now next week, on Monday, I'm going to talk about living life as a navigator. I've been spending the last 25 years creating, designing, practicing, taking actions to live my life as a navigator. But I got to tell you, I rarely slip back into being a victim. Victim has no interest in me. I find it a pitiful, disgusting place to be. I just do not go there. I can work with victims at times, but I really need and expect my victims to move at least into a survival mentality, because they're workable. Survivors are workable. Now, I came from a family of survivors. My mom and dad were kind of blue-collar workers. My father worked in the Navy Yard, had a candy store, luncheonette. My mother was a nurse, a night nurse, at a cancer and tuberculosis hospital. And they both, my mom particularly, were fighters. My parents were fighters. So one of the things I think I got from my mom was the art of surviving, knowing how to dig my heels in, take a stand, and you mess with me, I'll mess with you back, whatever way I can. But succeed and accomplish. Go for what you want. So there are times we need to rise to the level of survivor or go down to survivor, get back into fighting position and do what we need to do. No question about it. Politically, you may need to do that. Economically, sometimes physically. We have an ailment. We got to rise to the occasion. I get that. No question about it. I respect that. The survivor I'm talking about is a chronic condition. It's not a quality that shows up as enhancing the quality of life or the lives of other people. It's actually quite negative, because I'm talking about the survivor who has to survive, has to win at any cost. Basically, they can get a lot done, but they leave a lot of roadkill along the way. They have to be right. It's really hard for them to say, I'm sorry. Today I talked to a daughter, a grown daughter, 45-year-old, and her father who lives someplace in Europe. And he was a survivor, tough guy. And I even felt in my body intimidated talking to him. I finally had to say to him, is it your intention to make me uncomfortable? Is it your intention to be a shithead? Is it your intention to be angry? Because that's how you're making your daughter feel, and I'm feeling the same way. I just want to check this out with you. Are we having a conversation, a dialogue to improve your relationship with your daughter? We just want to win. And then he looked at me and smiled as if to say, you got me. We calmed down, and then we shifted into a conversation for well-being and relationship. So the survivor I'm talking about is the chronically impaired. I have to win at any cost. Get the other guy before he gets you. I'm going to live. I'm going to win even if it kills me. I don't think that's a great way to live. I think you need to have that quality under desperate times or the times of real danger. But most of the time, we're not in danger. But the survivor lives his life as if he's in danger. It's a really hard pattern to change. But I've discovered a couple things that may help a survivor at least appreciate what he's doing. I might say to a survivor, who do you love in life? And how do you think your behavior is affecting that person? Are you open to asking that person, what's it like to live with you? What's it like to have you as a father, as a husband, as a child, as my son or my daughter? You might also think about, do you really have any empathy for others? Do you not care? If you don't care, you're kind of useless in terms of changing. If you care enough, you might then be able to say, what can I do to make amends? You might also ask yourself, if I don't change, how's my life going to turn out? Now, I love a particular exercise called the funeral exercise for survivors, which is I ask them to imagine themselves whatever time in the future, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years, they're dead, and they're sitting as ghosts in the first pew of the synagogue or church. and they're listening to all the people who know them come up to the podium and say what it was like knowing you. And you hear from your so-called loved ones what it was like to tolerate you, to put up with you. Sometimes that wakes them up, like Scrooge when he visited the past, the present, and the future. I think it was the future that really woke him up. He did not want to die into that existence. So I invite you, this is kind of a recap on my talk from Monday, Living Life as a Survivor. Really look in the mirror. Ask yourself, are you living life as a survivor? Are you creating roadkill? Do you want to do something about it? If you do, give me a call, read one of my books. Go online, go on YouTube. There are lots of people talking about what I'm talking about, looking at how to help you design your life, not just survive your life. You really deserve to live an extraordinarily happy, good life. And you don't deserve to take it on other people. Unacceptable. Okay, that's it, folks. That's my Wednesday talk at 5:30, whatever time it is. See you next Monday. Well, I'm going to talk about what I love, life as a navigator. Hope to see you then. Bye.